welcome everybody to this very, very sacred show today here on Zeta Global Radio. Of course, we're talking about crystal skulls. For those of you who are learning for the first time what they're all about, for those of you who are longtime avid followers, believers, stewards of them, there's something for everyone in this show with this incredible group of beings who are here to share their wisdom, whether they're talking about contemporary skulls, they're talking about ancient skulls. We are getting a first-hand view of the whole mystery, the intrigue, and the cosmic consciousness surrounded about the skulls. And I'm so excited. It's a topic I've been wanting to do here for a very long time. And it all came together with my dear friend, Teresina Bakens, who of course has been on the show before with her husband, Martin, and their wonderful, wonderful fifth tarot book. But not only that, she's a shamanic healer and an artist and so many things. And of course, an avid lover of the entire skull. I don't even know if it's a movement, but it's a consciousness. And she's here to talk about it today, as well as really give credit to for bringing this whole show together. So here we go. Welcome to the show, Teresina. Glad you're here. Glad you're back on ZGR, and I'm glad we're talking about this finally.
Thank you so much, Lainey. It's really great to be here again. Hello to all the Zeta Global Conscious Radio people, and I'm really thrilled to be here and talk about crystal skulls today because there are many, legends, myths, truths, and stories about the skulls and a lot of mystery surrounding it. So I ask you to just kind of listen with your heart and find out what resonates as true for you. In general, it's believed that the ancient skulls were left here were from the star beings who seeded the earth many years ago. And any crystal is an ancient record keeper of the earth. So these ancient skulls are really conduits of wisdom and light and healing. They amplify energies as crystals do. And sometimes people will say, well, why are they shaped like a skull? A skull is really a symbol of mystical death, of letting go of the ego. And skulls are also symbols of consciousness as containers for wisdom and consciousness. So the skulls are here really to assist humanity, and they do a lot of work both on personal levels and on planetary levels. The other three people that are going to be speaking to you, I've had the great joy and honor to work with, and they will be speaking a little bit more about some of the ancient skulls. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the contemporary skulls. My understanding, and I've worked with hundreds of skulls, both ancient and contemporary, the ancients are really have been these wonderful record keepers of knowledge and wisdom through eons of time that are here assisting humanity at this moment in time. The contemporary skulls will be the ancients for times to come, and they are being imbued with these amazing cosmic energies that are streaming to our planet at this time since the Great Shift of 2012. So that's kind of just a little overview about crystal skulls in general.
Well, it's interesting because they've been around a long time, and you see them, and like you said, well, I don't know if you said, but I know that people look at skulls sometimes scary, right? Pirates and Halloween and death. And here you're sharing that the skulls are actually the antithesis of that, more about energy and light and love and knowledge and wisdom. So I think that alone is a myth demystified and brought forward, which I think is so important. And wondered where it changed that it went from that to this, to what people know skulls as.
Yeah, and if you think about it, all of us, if we take away our skin color, hair color, eye color, we all have a skull. A skull is a symbol of unity consciousness. It's something that creates an energy to bring us all together. So
I love that. To me, it's oneness. So let's share with our audience. Oh, so and you mentioned one thing because I know I can't wait for you to talk about Ophelia. You mentioned ancient and you mentioned contemporary. When you say contemporary, can you just elaborate a little bit more what that means exactly? Like, how were those derived? They're not found, they weren't left by star beings. Like, how are those born?
Yeah. Well, the ancient skulls, one of the mysteries around them is they can't really figure out how they were made because there's no primitive tool marks of any type that would have been, appropriate at that time. So there's a bit of mystery surrounding that. The contemporary skulls are fashioned from large crystals brought out of the earth, and they are fashioned and created by carvers today with the technology that we have and fashioned into the shape of a skull. So the particular skull that I have, Ophelia, she was carved by a master carver out of Brazil, Leandro de Souza, and she comes from the Diamantina mine. And they're known for the purity of the crystals, very high energy, high frequency crystals. And so working with these skulls also attunes us, raises our vibration as well.
Beautiful. So now let's talk about, I know you just mentioned Ophelia. You use Ophelia in ceremonies. Of course, we've had you, Zeta Global Radio has been proud to sponsor a lot of your events when you come to Florida. And a lot of the participants at Sacred Spiral, in your Fifth Element workshops and retreats, get the chance to meet Ophelia. And I've interviewed them, I've talked to them, I've had my own experiences, and everyone has had a different experience. So I just wondered if you want to just elaborate more on some of the things that might happen when someone holds a skull or meditates with a skull, or particularly Ophelia.
Absolutely. Well, I can speak from my experiences and things that people have shared with me. As I mentioned, I've worked with many, many skulls over the years, and one of the other presenters today, Miguel Angel Vergara, who is a master teacher, a Mayan master teacher, I've worked with him for over 20 years, and he told me back in the 90s that I would be a guardian of a crystal skull, and I kind of just held that loosely, and over the years working with many skulls. Well, when Ophelia actually came to me, she had tears in her eye sockets. I started crying. It was like meeting a dearly beloved, and that's like an example of the impact that these skulls can have upon you. And shortly after receiving her, I had an aura photo taken. And in the image, in addition to all the colors around, in the aura, it showed the shape of a double terminated crystal over the heart and 3 crystal pyramids over the head. And I feel what she was sharing with me is that part of what she does is she opens the heart and she expands consciousness. So when people work with her and with other crystal skulls, everybody's experience is a little bit different. Some people receive spontaneous healing. I've seen that happen, particularly one instance comes to mind with a woman when we were traveling in the Netherlands, and she received a healing in her neck. She had an injury 9 years before that, had very little movement in her neck, and all of a sudden she was able to turn her head from side to side. She saw a rainbow of light that went from Ophelia to her. So, that you can't explain it necessarily, but it's true because someone has experienced it to be true. So they do work with healing. They do work with sharing wisdom. A lot of times people receive information, call it channeling, download, whatever terminology you want to use, but you are able to access different states of consciousness that open your awareness to other realms and ideas. So because crystals amplify energies and transmit energies, part of the work that Ophelia has guided me to do with her is to take her to different sacred sites. And so my husband Martin and I, together with Miss Miguel, do sacred journeys in the Mayan lands. In fact, we have one scheduled next spring, April 3rd to the 17th.
Great.
And so at these sacred sites, the skulls themselves connect with the energy and the ancient wisdom, the cosmic wisdom at these sacred sites, as well as holding intention when we are holding an intention of in ceremony, whether that's for peace on the planet or compassion or connecting with the sacred feminine or balancing the sacred masculine and feminine. The skulls assist us in amplifying those energies. The last time we were down in Copan in Honduras, there are these amazing stelas which my experience is that they are actually living, breathing beings, and they are connected to the star ancestors, the wisdom of the cosmos, and they act as sort of antennas. And so we had a group of 13 people, each one holding a crystal skull, and the energies that streamed in from the cosmos through these stelas out into the crystal skulls, to the participants, back into the crystal skulls, back up to the cosmos, was this amazing energy that, in my experience, felt as though the skulls were being initiated, we were being initiated. This energy transmission of our intention for the evolution of humankind and the planet was going out to the cosmos. The cosmos was sending this energy in, and it was just a very, very profound, impactful experience.
Whew, I have goosebumps just thinking about what you just said. What I was picturing is how, of course, we talk about all of us are ascending more from carbon based to crystalline based, and it felt like what you just shared was like part of that rite of passage of who we truly are. I mean, I really receive of what you just said.
Absolutely. And that is what the crystal skulls are here to remind us also. Ophelia often says to me, what you see in me is inside you. And other people have received that message from her as well. One time, she also does a lot of planetary work in the healing of the waters, and we had orchestrated at one point all around the planet. We coordinated a time, and people were working with crystal skulls or crystals in bodies of water, from Lake Baikal in Russia and the Sea of Taiwan to the Great Lakes in the States to all the oceans to the North Sea. People were doing ceremony with the skulls and the crystals in the water for the healings of the water. And at that time, we happened to be in Guatemala at Lake Atitlan. We had somebody at Lake Titicaca in Peru as well. But anyway, we were on the lake, and that particular day, Ophelia instructed me that we required to be on the middle of the lake, not on the edge. Usually I'm standing on the edge and just holding her in the water. Well, we were in a boat out on the middle of the lake. I couldn't safely reach over the boat and put her in the water, so we scooped up a bucket of water, put it on the boat, and I put her into the water. And as we were doing the meditation, I had my eyes closed, and at one point I opened my eyes, and my arms holding her, my hands and up to my elbows, which were in the water, appeared as crystal skeleton. And I know it was her way of showing me exactly what you were saying, Lainey, that we are shifting from a carbon base into a crystalline structure. And if you think about the minerals in our bones are crystals, the water and the blood in our cells are crystals. So working with the crystal skulls does indeed help us with not only raising consciousness, but also our physical health and well-being as well.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, before we take a break and invite Leah Scallon here from Australia, any other information you want to share with our listeners about what you're working on with Ophelia for the future?
Yeah, well, I would like to just share one other point that to have a clear understanding that when you are a guardian of a crystal skull, it's not about you. You are in service to the skull. They obviously don't have hands and feet. We're their hands and feet to get them where they need to go. And it really is about the work that they are here to assist humanity. So it is a great honor whenever you are able to connect with a skull and work with them. And I'm sure you're going to hear that from the next three speakers as well.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Were you going to say something else?
Yeah, if any of you would like to explore the possibility of coming on one of our journeys and sharing the experiences with the crystal skulls with Ophelia and some of the other skulls that we work with, you can go to our website, beaconsoflove.com, and the journey is next spring, April 3rd to the 17th.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
to all of you for listening. It's great that Lainey has created this wonderful venue to share so many insightful things with all of us. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, it's the time. We all need to really know more than we know. And once we know, we can't unknow, as I always like to say. All right, thank you. Stay on the line. We're going to just take a quick break. And when we come back, we have 3 more incredible beings sharing their story on being guardians of crystal skulls. You're listening to Zeta Global Radio. We'll be back in a moment. Conscious businesses. Do you have a powerful prayer, meditation, affirmation, audiobook, or music that you're ready to bring to the global stage? Have you considered taking your enlightened gifts to the next level by recording them professionally so the world can hear your knowledge and wisdom? Enlightened Audio and Sound is your production source for taking your talents and making them and you known all over the planet. Record in a magical setting with the expertise of renowned music engineer, composer, and recording artist Howard Merlin Wolkin. Will not only assist you in developing a concept that can be recorded with top-level commercial quality, but will also assist you in bringing your media asset to market in a variety of mediums, including digitally to iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and thousands of more outlets. To learn more, visit our Facebook page, Enlightened Audio and Sound, about bringing your business and career to new heights. Hi, Lainey Savante here, and I'd love for you to visit my new Facebook page for my private tarot and oracle session readings called Intuitive Wisdom. That's IN2UITIVE Wisdom. Conscious strategies for manifesting a more harmonious life. Don't we all want to have that? Let's see what's in the cards for you as we look at what needs to be cleared, expanded upon, and evolved. There's a lot to explore when we take a deeper look inside ourselves. Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. Thank you so much for being here today, sharing in this extremely high vibrational show that we are doing about crystal skulls. Whether you're a longtime lover and follower, or this is your first experience learning more about the high vibrational energies, this is a show for you because we've gathered people from all 4 corners of the world to share their passions and of the skulls and how they've been caretakers, they've been divinely guided to watch over them. Everything that you're going to learn today is something for everyone. And I will share with you that we've had quite an interesting experience offline trying to get some of the technology going. So I know that the energies are very present, and we are going to bring Leah right onto the show straight away. And let me have the honor of introducing her, Leah Scallon, calling in all the way from Australia, although she's Irish born. She's an award-winning composer and a sacred songstress, and you have to go to soundsofsirius.com. I did today, and I've been floating. And not only is she this incredible musician, artist, and transformational musician, but how she incorporates crystal skulls into her life is what she's going to share with us now. Welcome to the show again, Leah. Glad to have you here.
The line too. So hopefully, as I said, these wonderful crystals that I'm surrounded by and these beautiful crystal skulls are going to behave themselves now and let us speak without interfering with the technology. But it's a wonderful honor to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Blessings. So what I thought we would do is give people a little bit of a background on who you are and how you've come to be in the world of crystal skulls, and what does that mean for you, and then maybe of course share about the personal one that you are with, and that gives people a sense that there's not a specific person who comes to the skull. I think everybody on the show today is so different and has a different background, so it's just showing the diversity, but we're all somehow connected. So I'll let you share, of course, about you and your story.
Absolutely right, Lainey. I think that the draw to the crystal skulls can come out of the blue for people, and it attracts all sorts of people from all different walks of life. My journey, was really fascinating. I started on this spiritual path in 1990. Previously, I'd been an actress and have had a huge passion for that since childhood. But when I returned to Australia in 1990, I had a period of ill health, and that resulted in me embarking on this spiritual path. And I went through a period of deep soul searching. I suppose you would call it a dark night of the soul, which went on for quite some time, like 10 years. And during that time, as I sought ways to, I suppose, heal myself, to understand, asking all of the questions as we do when we're in a period like that of, everything comes up for question. During my meditation, what happened was that I started to bring through these beautiful melodies, and they were accompanied by this light language, is what I call it now, but at that stage it was just this language which, seemed to be composed of other languages. What I was told by Spirit eventually was that this was the root of all language. It was the language of the soul. But any apprehension I felt about this strange thing that was happening to me, this music and this language that was coming through, that was sort of obliterated. Any fear was obliterated because the energy that was coming through with it was so pure and so sweet and so full of love that I knew that these melodies and these words were coming through to help me heal. So I had surrendered. I became somebody that had to trust, I suppose, and I really handed over my journey to Spirit and said, okay, just, I let it evolve organically. At the end of that 10-year period, I was beginning to feel that these words and music were going to be used for other people, and then all of a sudden, very urgently, I was basically told to get out and start sharing them. So it was a huge leap of faith for me to do that, because it was interesting during that whole period of experiencing many healing modalities for myself, studying various healing modalities. Not once had I come across anybody who used sound on me. I'd never heard the phrase toning, and so it's almost like they were keeping me very separate and, in a way, pure, I suppose, so that I would know that these sounds were coming through me, were coming, they were unique to me. I wasn't copying anybody. I wasn't imitating anybody, and that these were coming from another higher dimensional place.
Is that around the time, and I read this, of course, on your website, where you went to Mexico, when that's your first, does that tie into around the same time when you went on the journey and first came across the skulls?
That was actually many years later. I went to Mexico in 2009, and so I'd been doing this work, and, I'd started to release albums of the work. I'd started initially as a healing practice, seeing people one-to-one and singing over them, and getting sort of quite phenomenal results. And then I was told that these sounds needed to reach a much wider audience. So I've been doing this for maybe 15 years or something like that, including my own journey. And then in 2009, I was compelled to join this journey to Mexico, and really not knowing why, because I'd always had a much stronger connection to Egypt than to the Mayan culture. But when I went there, I encountered, knowing nothing about crystal skulls before I went, I encountered a crystal skull there. Our group were brought together one evening for meditation, and this very powerful skull was there. And as soon as I entered the room, it's like I was catapulted into this altered state. And I was, each of us were allowed to hold the skull. When I held this crystal skull, I was enveloped in this, literally my body was physically pumping with energy that I can only describe as pure love. We sat down in a circle around the skull after everyone had their individual go, as it were, and we started to chant. My chant started to turn to channeling, where the sound was coming through me from another place. And then I saw the sound coming out of my mouth like a column of fire, and as luck would have it, as they say, there's no coincidence, I was sitting directly opposite the skull, with the skull looking at me, and I saw the sound pour out of my mouth and into the crown of the skull. Now, without knowing anything about crystal skulls at all whatsoever, I knew in that moment that the sound coming out of me was somehow activating that skull, and then that the skull was activating everybody in the circle.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now, do you have your own, did you come into possession of your own skull?
I did indeed. In fact, on that journey, I got my first little skull, and after I came back to Australia, I started to share the crystal skull energy by doing events with that skull. And I now have a large family of skulls, but there is one skull in particular that has changed my life, really, and his name is the Master Crystal Skull Solar. My journey to meet Solar is really stranger than fiction. There were many, I suppose, initiations and journeys, metaphysical and physical, that brought me to Mount Shasta in 2012. Yes, indeed. Or as they say, one of the 7 most powerful vortexes of energy on the planet. And I know we don't have time to go into it now, but Solar had basically gotten himself in place to be there. He had been with his carver for 6 years before, and then had just been given to these couple in Mount Shasta a couple of months before. And when I walked in and I saw him, I literally fell to my knees. I threw my arms around him, and I was laughing. I was crying. It was like meeting my long-lost friend.
And did it look like Saint Germain, just out of curiosity?
Say that because Solar has proven that he's really an interdimensional gateway. He seems to be working with a lot of the master councils, including the Great White Brotherhood of Light, of whom Saint Germain is one. The first day that I had him, somebody else that was there, we were doing this ceremony with the Andara crystals, and somebody took some photographs. Inside Solar's head was like etched, like an etching, was an image of Saint Germain. Several times that he's been photographed with the violet ray of Saint Germain, totally engulfed in the violet ray. He's shown many images inside him. He's an extraordinary skull, absolutely extraordinary.
Wow. Well, I know that is a lot for some people who are just sort of getting new to this, and for some of us who know all about Saint Germain and Lemurian worlds and the wonderful worlds that may exist in Telos and all that. There's something for everybody here. I think what we're really wanting to share is that everyone has their own connection to these mystical skulls. And clearly on this show today, everyone has, as we said earlier, a unique perspective. The one thing I could say that we can all say is how incredibly powerful they are. I think we've already witnessed that just with coming together. That this alone, even this show lined up so beautifully and effortlessly to have people from all over the world share their love and knowledge. So you said that you you mentioned that you had met Teresina at a convention, I think you said in Arizona. There are gatherings, correct, of everyone who owns crystals, or how does it work? Do people come together and they're drawn for the crystals to synergize with one another?
You know, it's very interesting, Lainey. What I've discovered through the years is that the crystal skulls know exactly where they want to be and who they want to be with. And they will engineer events in the most unlikely ways to bring people together and to get to where they want to be. What my experience with the skulls is, what in the last several years, is what they're doing is they're bringing me to various sacred sites across the globe. They're bringing me to gatherings like the one at which I met Teresina, which was a Crystal Skull conference, and it was took place on the 11-11-11 prior to the 12-12-12, where all of these incredible Crystal Skull guardians came with their skulls to come together to really share information, and to, I think what these gatherings do is they open a portal of light when all of these crystals gather together in the one place, and all of these light workers gather together with pure intention to assist the planet and to assist humanity, then extraordinary things can happen. And I think what we're doing is we're opening gateways to other dimensions to help humanity and the earth itself to shift dimension.
Beautiful. Wow, thank you. I would love to go on and on with you, Leah, and I think we're just going to have another show with you just to talk more about the essence of your music and your meditations and everything that you're about. But for now, as we close this segment, where would you like people to learn most about you so they can see all that you offer to the planet and humanity?
Well, I have a website, Lainey, and it is www.soundsofsirius.com, and it's a fairly extensive website. I have many articles on there about the crystal skulls, about my music. I have 11 albums. I've just released my 11th just last month, and you can listen to sound samples of the albums on there. I have guest articles from other people, so there's lots to browse through there. But I'd love to say there are also crystal skulls on there. What I've found with my journey is that people that have been ignited by what has happened at events, crystal skull events that I've put on, and who feel drawn to have their own skull, they don't know, people who are new don't know where to go, what to do. So I have a select group of crystal skulls on there that are waiting for their guardians. And what I've found is that it's been amazing to witness how people come to crystal skulls. People have come to me and they've said, I've had a dream about a crystal skull. Can you help me to find it? And, people are awoken. If you're called to the journey of the skulls, just know that it will happen.
Well, I was telling Teresina I feel an amber skull is waiting, and I just know it's going to show up because it's been in my field for some time now, and it feels like it's closer than ever. So I am putting that out on this show that is what I believe will be my first one.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I so love to hear that. I've just, in fact, last week put in the mail to someone a crystal skull, and it's been beautiful. It's taken her several months to be able to make it happen, but this skull called the Rainbow One, who's been with me for a couple of years waiting for her, I know he's been waiting for her, has finally, and I feel quite emotional now just talking about it, he's done a lot of work with me, but now he's with his new true guardian. So it's such a special thing to witness. And I know that the skulls produce very mixed emotions in people when they come to them for the first time. People think, this is scary. This is, a lot of people think that the skulls represent death. But to me, they are containers of light. They are, in a sense, also symbolic of all that is vital for life, because if you think about it, everything we need for life, our breath, our sight, our hearing, our speech, our smell, is all contained within the package that is the skull. Our brain is contained within the skull. So the skull is not a symbol of death, it's a symbol of life and of light.
Thank you. We are going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll have more with a new guardian, and he's going to talk all about his skull and his beautiful background on ancient skulls. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you so much for being here today. Many blessings. Trice Massage Therapy and Skincare is Southwest Florida's premier holistic and wellness spa to relax and rejuvenate your well-being. Founded by Lucille Trice, This enlightened haven, located in Cape Coral, offers a variety of massage therapies including Swedish, deep tissue, and trigger point massage. Trice offers detoxifying body wraps and facials using natural organic ingredients to pamper your skin and restore balance and health. Visit their Trice Massage Therapy and Skincare Facebook page or call 239-672-0526 and book your experience today. Mention ZGR and receive a complimentary ionic foot detox experience. Hi everyone, Lainey Savante here. Listen, you are invited to the 2018 Mutual UFO Network Symposium taking place July 27th through 29th in Cherry Hill, New Jersey next month. Titled UFOs, Extraterrestrials, and the Future of Humanity, this symposium is expanding the consciousness of the UFO topic with an entire weekend of knowledge focusing on awakening enlightened attendees to the full possibilities and truths that exist. There'll be multiple film screenings, lectures on science and technologies, and also discussions on transhumanism. 2 free Saturday workshops are available, as well as walk-in student discounts. So to learn more, visit www.mufonsymposium.com. MUFON is M-U-F-O-N. Hi, Lainey Savante Wolken here, and I'm so excited to announce that the Holistic Chamber of Commerce is now up and running in both Cape Coral and Fort Myers in Southwest Florida. If you are looking to be part of an organization and represent excellence in holistic and sustainable mediums and businesses, we'd love to have you be part of who we are. Go to holisticchamberofcommerce.com/Cape Coral or holisticchamberofcommerce.com/Fort Myers and learn all about what we are doing here in the beautiful land of paradise. Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. Thank you for tuning in here today as we talk about the ancient and the modern and the mystical and the magical world of crystal skulls. And we're so very honored here right now to have on our ZGR airwaves Miguel Angel Vergara. He is a Maya priest and master teacher who lives and works in the Yucatan, Mexico. He guides people to the Maya sacred wisdom and sites in all the Maya world and has written books and given lectures and conferences on the Maya sacred knowledges throughout the world. And he is going to share a lot more about his view of the crystal skulls and their ancient heritage. So welcome to the show, Miguel. So wonderful to have you here calling in from Mexico. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to participate in your program. I would like to introduce, the crystal skull ideas or the way that I've been working with them. I began my sacred journey in the Mayan path with a Mayan elder whose name was Don Vicente Martin Güemes, and I began my journey with him in the 1980s. I was, with him for about 17 years until he passed away in that year. And it's when I had to decide to continue my professional career or to just do more, about the Mayan teachings in my life, to introduce more myself and to begin, my path as a new Mayan teacher. And what I had done for about more than 25 years now. So I've been working with the ideas of, especially the ones that we know, Mitchell Hedges, one of the most famous crystal skulls founded according with the story we know, in 1927, in one Mayan area precisely, which is called Lubantun in Belize, in the country of Belize, which is part of the Mayan world. So Belize has many, many beautiful sites, but Lubantun is special because according with the story we know, Mitchell Hedges' father and Alice, the daughter, they found the first crystal skull, which is an amazing crystal, with the detached jaw. So the point to begin for me is first to know what is the structure of a crystal. I think that the Mayas knew us, and they call us as we are vibrational beings. So everything vibrates in Mother Nature. So every part of the crystal, is a part of that energy who came from the sky, descending to a light, and that light is a condensation through a crystal, to a matter we call quartz or crystal skull. So the Mayans believe that this light is condensate in a crystal skull. So part of the light of God is there. The part of that energy which is descending from the sky is there. So matter, consciousness, and energy is in each one of the atoms. The matter of the crystal is matter, consciousness, and energy. That's why, in some ways, the ancient Mayas, loaded these crystal skulls with certain kind of knowledge, secret knowledge, wisdom, not only for this dimension. Some of the information that is loaded in the skulls trespass the borders of our logic, our reason, or limitations as a human beings we have, going beyond to another dimensions or to another realities that have been possible when the people do meditation with the crystals, especially with the original ones. But the ones who are new are very important too, because they are now the supporters of that energy of the ancient ones. So I cannot say, that the new ones are less or more. I think that they are now supporters of that great energy that is bringing from the ancient one. And we know that the Mayas, the Egyptians, the Tibetans, the Native Americans, the South Americans, the Incas, the Mayas, they have crystal skulls. In one of the experiences that I can talk to you in the Maya Olmec area, close to Palenque, there are some elders who they know where they are still Mayan crystal skulls buried. And they said that the crystal skulls are now fulfilling the work to keep balance, the axis of the planet, who in some levels, people don't accept easily. But this is what they have told me. The crystal skulls are like magnificent conductors of electromagnetism, who is connecting with the heart of the earth and the heart of the sky, and they have the potency, the strength, or the force to give alignment, the axis of the planet. So the crystal skulls are mysterious yet, but I think that they are coming from ancient ones who loaded them with a certain information, and they are preparing us to access to more and more sources, to more and more deep knowledge, that we can use it properly as we evolve in our consciousness too. Because remember that the crystals are connecting with the light. And as we don't make the light within, we are not ready to participate and to handle that light, and to feel it and to know what is the real meaning, of the crystal skulls. On the other hand, we have places like archaeological sites, centers, ceremonial centers like the one who is very famous, one of the 7 new wonders, who is Chichen Itza in the Yucatan. In one of the main temples, which is called the Ball Court, the largest one in Mesoamerica, in the center of the Ball Court, there are 2 big sculpted crystal skulls, who represent precisely the transformation, the transmutation of our own mind in Christ, in the crystal. To become yourself in crystal means that you defeat the ego within your mind. You accepted, to transform yourself in a crystal being, in a crystal mind, in Christus, in the Christ consciousness, in the clear consciousness, in the positive mind, who precisely the allegory of the ball court is the confrontation of the forces of the light and the shade, is where the Mayan teachers explain to the Popol Vuh history that the ancient one, the two great heroes, Hunahpu and Xbalanque, descended to the underworld to make a battle with the lords of the shadows, with the lords of the underneath. And they get the victory precisely when you accepted to defeat in your own mind the ego side. So it's a great symbol. The crystal skulls are great symbols. There are three things who load the ancient information. One is the stones, the second are the bones, and the third one are the crystals. These three material aspects, it's quite interesting because we have pyramids in Egypt, stone. We have pyramids in the Yucatan. We have pyramids in the Inca, Peru. We have pyramids in many other places. The stones loaded the informations, the memories of the ancient ones. The wisdom is there. In the crystals were loaded by the Mayas. They stored certain kind of wisdom there that we are now, little by little, able, to understand and to share with the humanity. And the other one, with the bones, is why in some areas like in Asia, Tibet, and Nepal, and many other places in Asia, they still keep, the body of the ancient lamas or the ancient teachers, because it's in the bones when they keep loaded the memory, the wisdom of the ancient ones. So these are aspects who I think are very important. And as I tell you, all these new modern crystals are coming to reinforce precisely the light, because every crystal amplifies your energy. And if you are in the light, you are in a process in your own inner transformation, meditating, transforming your everyday. This is what's going to contribute using an instrument like a crystal to expand the light, to expand the healing, to expand the love, to expand the kindness, because that energy of the crystal expanding our auras, our energies to another levels, It's like the cosmic antennas, where they can expand it or transmit to another levels, these kind of amazing levels of light, on love or kindness, depends of the way that we are using. We are the instruments, We are the instruments of the divinity to transform ourselves. We are here to help the humanity in service, and the crystal skulls have the light with them to share that light with all the planet, with all the human beings, with all the living beings. And this is why, every part of that crystal represents the condensation of the light, the condensation of part of that creator who is God, who is the light, who is represented by the sun. And drop by drop in the caverns, in the caves, this is transformed in the crystal through millions of years or hundreds of years. And finally, to get one of these pieces to model as a crystal skull represents that in our own mind, in our own brain, we have the great possibilities of the inner spiritual transformation to be a different human being, to contribute with humankind, to bring the peace, to bring the love, to bring the harmony, to bring the kindness, to bring the balance that is needed now. So I think that now, more than ever, the crystal skulls using as an instrument, they are contributing to the world peace. And why not to use as an instrument to make healings, to make meditations, to bring people to that level of understanding that we all are one. We are brothers and sisters. We live in one home. We live in one house. With our planet. And we don't have color or race. We are human beings all.
So true. Do you feel that the crystals are making themselves more known now, as in being found, because we need more than ever need to come together? Are they suddenly appearing more often now than in the past, or no?
Yes, I have had the opportunity to travel, and I've seen that, even some people who have the ability to make new ones, as we said, they have introducing most of these people. If you really decided to spend time with them, at the end, maybe they will be in some way elders, or in some way shamans, or in some way medicine men, or in some way people who do healings. So it's people who in some way they are sensitive to possibly make these new crystals with the purpose to bring to the humanity and to find the right person to travel with them maybe, or to stay in an area where these crystals are needed. Remember that we want to expand the light. And how many places need the light, need the peace, need the love, need the kindness from our own process. So this is a very important time when I see these instruments as an instrument to contribute to the harmony, peace worldwide. And it doesn't matter if they are new, because they are new, yes, but they are old at the same time because they came from a process who takes hundreds of years to Mother Earth to prepare the crystal, and then they can make it new, but it's not in reality new. This is an old way that the Mother prepared the crystal to be used nowadays.
Thank you. If people want to spend more time getting to know you and your work down in Mexico, should I send them to your website, or what's the best way of reaching you?
It would be lovely. You can do that, of course. We are here in Casa Quin in Mérida, Yucatan, Mexico, and we are promoting journeys. We have one soon in December who is going to be in this precisely marvelous Mayan sites, connecting with Palenque and Yaxchilán and other beautiful places around. And I think that people will enjoy it because it's to be there is very different from anything that I can talk to you now. To feel the energy, yes. To feel this amazing, to see these amazing pyramids surrounded by the jungle, rivers and waterfalls, and feel the connection with Mother is what we need. We are disconnected. Most of us, we are feeling disconnected with the Mother.
That's what this show is all about, is to bring all of us together and reconnect everybody, and I believe the skulls are doing that, and the show will do that. And I'm so grateful you were able to come on and spend your energy here and give people such a great wisdom. So thank you for being here today, and we'll make sure we post all your information straight away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And my name in Casa Quin, and at the same time, just open the doors to any one of you who are listening, and to yourself. If one day you want to come to join us, you will be more than welcome to the Maya land.
Blessings. Thank you. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Hi everyone, Lainey Savante Wolken here, and I warmly invite you to join me as well as Esther Miner, who's an intuitive medium, Reiki therapist, and meditation guide, along with Chantal Fanak, who is a hypnotist, life coach, and Reiki master, for a day of celebration. And that celebration is of you. We invite you to let go, relax, and find a sense of self within. You are invited to join us for a full day of enlightened experiences to remind you of the peace, harmony, and freedom that you already have. You'll be inspired and excited in renewed belief systems as you engage in meditation, Reiki, hypnosis, tarot, music, nature, community, and sacred wisdom. Space is limited, and we invite you to register now by going to soulwarrior44.com. Your renewed you awaits. Welcome to the Natural Awakenings Northern New Mexico July issue. Natural Awakenings feature articles share the important health benefits of organic farming. They are also proud to present exclusive interviews with Grandmother Flor Mayo and several of other indigenous grandmothers and inform you about important alternative options to opiates for pain relief. A lot of amazing events are happening this month that will help you connect to other like-minded people in your community. Be sure to check out the calendar and relish in the cosmic connection with your fellow New Mexicans. May we all be inspired this month to look at the bigger picture. If you like to market your business or services with Natural Awakenings, New Mexico's leading wellness magazine that reaches thousands of health and wellness conscious readers, please email publisher@naturalawakeningsnnm.com or call Andrea at 505-999-1319. Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. what a show this is. If you are new to Crystal Skulls, I'm sure this has been quite an extensive knowledge, eye-opening, heart-opening, mind-opening, soul-opening adventure. And our next guest is going to continue that journey with us. She has more than 40 years being a practicing spiritual healer. Star Johnson Moser is calling in from the beautiful Mayan city of Izamal, which is home of Itzamna, the Mayan god of healing. And she's going to share all about that, but particularly what brought her there and her extensive work with the crystal skulls and what they mean to her, the ancient wisdom and the enlightened wisdom from above. So I'm going to let her tell it in her own words. Welcome to the show, Star Johnson Moser. So glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really, really happy to be sharing with you today.
Yes. Where do we begin? So far we've had on the show, everybody has been sharing their wisdom, sharing about the ancient knowledge of skulls, sharing the modern wisdoms of skulls, the difference in skulls, and each one's connection. So maybe just begin with about your background, how you came to be connected to skulls, what they mean to you, just all the profound wisdom and healing that you can impart with us today.
Okay. Well, I've been working with skulls since 1987, which was when I met my first crystal skull. I didn't even know they existed. And I was working with a Philippine healer in Houston, and all of a sudden Joanne Parks and her husband walked into our healing room holding Max, the crystal skull, and asked the Philippine healer if he knew anything about such an artifact. And he didn't know anything, but for me it was like I'd met my long-lost friend. And
wow.
I wept, and and I started hugging him, and it was like reconnecting with a huge part of myself. And that began my journey. And Max kept coming in and out of my life at intervals. Every time I was going through a shift, he would suddenly appear in my life. And ultimately, what happened is I started suddenly speaking in a very strange language, a star language. And I was told by my guidance that Max would understand and respond to this language. So I made an appointment with the Parks, and I went and began speaking this language to the skull and allowing it to flow. And I was with a friend of mine who had oddly started to speak the same language that I was speaking in 3 days before I arrived in Houston. And so we were there together and intoning the language and just allowing it to flow and working with the energy as if we were working with the human energy fields. And all of a sudden, a being came flying out of the skull with such force that it threw my friend across the room, and I was just frozen to the spot. And with every emotion you could possibly imagine surging through me. And a light came from the heart of this being, the heart center of this being, and struck my own heart and grounded into the earth through my body, and began just downloading me with energy after energy, level after level. And this being identified itself in the language as talk. And so, of course, I'm wondering, what is this? Who is talk? What's happening here? Something drew me to the Keys of Enoch. And I found out that talk means Orion in the Tibetan language. And so I knew then that this being was from Orion.
Wow.
And this began a relationship with Joanne and with Max's skull that lasted for 3 years, and we traveled all over the United States, and we worked with light groups, and talk would emerge from the skull to draw everybody into this incredible unified oneness, to the extent that they could handle it. If there was a lot of fear and doubt, then he would only come out a little bit. If there was a lot of openness, then the being would fully emerge. And it such a union, such a total tantric, blissful experience. It is just very hard to put into words.
First off, I just revel in the fact that we have a radio show that is so receiving of what you're sharing, and that you're in that the territory, like, wow, it just makes me think about how Spirit said this is a show that we can be sharing what needs to be really shared, and that's what's happening. So I just want to just preface that. But I was thinking about how a business partner of mine introduced me to J.J. Hertalk recently when he was speaking somewhere. And did you ever connect with him and share? Has there been an alignment? Yeah, so I wanted to hear about that.
Yes, I had. I was at a weekend private seminar with he and Desiree in Sedona. Invited with a friend of mine who has a very close relationship with him. And I had the opportunity to tell him what I was experiencing through the crystal skull. And he said to me very intensely, he said, I feel very much the truth of what you're telling me, but I have to tell you this, that this experience is for the very few. And, you know, in a way that turned me off, because for me, it's all inclusive.
Sure.
You know, I'm not into chosen few stuff. You know, I believe that we choose ourselves.
Well, do you want to share what you're doing down in Mexico and how you're incorporating the crystal skulls and the light activation ceremonies, and a little bit more in the time that we have left, just to show people that it's not just finding a skull or the skull finding you, it's what we do with the energy that's being transmitted. It's what we're doing to heal the world. So showing them sort of where you're at now would be wonderful.
Well, I've been working in Mexico. 1995 is when I first came to the Yucatan. I immediately began working with groups, working with elder Hunbat's men and other Mayan elders, and doing light activation ceremonies at various pyramid ceremonial centers, using crystal skulls to help open the etheric mystery schools at the sacred sites, and helping people to get attuned to those energies. And I've been doing that for years now, 25 years, maybe something like that. And we've hosted people coming from all over the world. And I've also traveled all over the world, helping people to open up, to get attuned to this energy. And working very much to connect people to their internal sacred tree of life. And
beautiful.
then working in ceremony to bring forth the collective tree of life with the group, and then extending that tree of life into the galactic realms and planting that energy to balance the earth, to connect with the earth. Bringing the heart of the sky into the heart of the earth, and the heart of the earth into the heart of the sky, right? And using it for balance, for dimensional exploration and reconnection and understanding, and opening to the cosmic memory, which is what the Mayan elders speak of.
I love this. The people who come see you, it's probably a mixture. Are they people who are skull curious? They're people who travel to see you, to all the skulls get together. I know that there's always conferences where all the skulls meet in a line and call to each other, or people seeking that they're destined to be a steward of one. Probably a little bit of everything, or you've probably seen it all.
And for some time, we were really working on bringing people into connection with Mayan people here and experiencing these levels of oneness together. Lots of healing going on, bringing different races of people together, right? And standing together in unified oneness and the ecstasy of reconnecting with the light. And that's what really my whole work is about, both in groups and working with individuals, is to reconnect them to the light. Because, after all, that's what it's about. We are the light.
So true.
That's the truth of our being. And crystal skulls and even other crystals are wonderful amplifiers to help us focus the energy and to more easily make that reconnection.
I was going to say to you in this last minute, if you can sum up for all four of you who have been here today about, in your words, what the crystal skulls mean, but I think you just said it. But if you wanted to add one more piece in this last minute, I would love that, just for the final energetic takeaway for our listeners who are drawn to the show. And the show has been generated, created, and guided because there has been a lot of energy around skulls and a lot of people have been asking. So there's obviously, it's up in the field for discussion. So I just thought if you can impart a final words of wisdom for our shows, well, that'll be that.
Yes. May I read to you what Talk's mission is?
That would be wonderful.
Okay. I come to you openly in mind and in heart. I come to you through the corridors of time. I come to restore your gifts, long forgotten. I come in remembering and I come in truth. I come in oneness and I come in gladness. I come with the blessings of infinite love. Oh, turn not away in fear or limitation. Turn not away in disdain or despair. I come with the flame of freedom, everlasting. Let us soar through illusion to the heart of the dove. I hold the secrets, the keys to the mysteries. I hold the pattern and I hold the plan. I hold open the doorways to illumine the chambers. Open your heart and let me come in. Open your mind and enter the doorway. Cast off all entanglements of time. Open your body to the light of the heavens. Open your pathways to the light of the stars. Open your gifts to share with each other. Open your senses to the sound and the light. Open your being to the unified presence. Reach out to each other. Divine reflection, divine love.
And so it is. Thank you so much for being here. Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Well, everyone, please share this show far and wide. You can hear it on ZetaGlobalRadio.com. You can certainly catch it on our Zeta Continuum and subscribe there, and you'll never miss a show. You'll always be notified. And we'll be posting Star Johnson Moser's wonderful website and all the ways that you can connect with her. I highly recommend going to see her down in she and her husband's beautiful sanctuary. And everybody who's been on the show, thank you to all from all four corners, really: California, Mexico, Australia. I'm here in Florida, and it is about the oneness, and I think that's what we're demonstrating today, and showing that the skulls are all part of that, and being wonderful, like you said, Star, amplifiers to the path that we're all on. So blessings to all who are here listening to the show. Star, thank you too for calling in. We greatly appreciate all of you. Thank you. So it is.